Hey guys, it's Slippery Jack and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing a review on The Plateau of Mirror by Brian Eno and Harold Budd. So if you don't know who these artists are, Harold Budd is an avant-garde artist. Keep mispronouncing that word. And Brian Eno is he does mainly ambient music. Pretty much like all different types of ambient music there is, like dark ambient or etc. And at the beginning he was doing like this art pop kind of thing, like with Taking Tiger Mountain by Strategy, and also Here Come the Warm Jets, which are also really good albums. Not to mention Another Green World, which is not sure if I could call that art pop, but yeah, of course it's art pop. And also Before and After Science. So Brian Eno was kind of already going the ambient route with discrete music, which used like a lot more orchestral sounds. And I thought discrete music was pretty good. I mean, it's not like the best ambient album because it was way back when ambient was kind of first becoming a thing. I believe like ambient music started in like the 1972 or something. Or I don't know when the first ambient album came out. And then there was also his collaboration with Cluster and Eno, which I think was a major improvement from discrete music. Discrete music was very repetitive. I just feel like there wasn't as much effort put into it as there was Cluster and Eno. Cluster and Eno had a lot more different sounds, and it wasn't repetitive. It had more songs. Discrete music had like a continuous chord progression going on for like a half hour, and then finally it changed after that. Then there was Music for Airports, which is what got ambient music popular. Um, Music for Airports is kind of I'm planning on doing a review on that one too because I've got a lot to say about it. It's a lot more minimalistic than the other two ambient albums, using mainly only like pianos and synthesizers and mellotrons. And min- uh minimal music is usually kind of hit or miss with me because I like it when music has a lot of sounds that are being thrown at you, but minimal music doesn't do that. But there have been a lot of exceptions where I have liked minimalistic music, and this is one of them. And then the next ambient album, The Plateau of Mirror. Well, I don't know if there was anything in between this and Music for Airports, but so I had heard Music for Airports like the exact same day as I heard this, so I was wondering what I would get. I wasn't really used to Music for Airports because I was already listening to Aphex Twin Selected Ambient Works Volume 2, and it was completely different from Music for Airports. I expected like a lot more drone droning effects and ambient pads, and it didn't have it. But it eventually grew on me. I got used to it like I thought. The Plateau of Mirror, however, I loved this album right away. And here's why. It sounded like the ambient music I was already familiar with. And it sounded like stuff that also had I had a lot of nostalgia for it for like ever since I first listened to it. And I think that I like how there's like a perfect balance between the piano and the synthesizers and the mellotrons. How they're kind of I like how the piano is like above uh, the synthesizer, and the synthesizer are below the piano, and I really like that combination. Sometimes I just like certain instruments to be louder than others, and it just makes it more satisfying to listen to. So yeah, I also feel like ever since I first listened to this album, I thought that there was just a lot more effort put and love put into it than with Music for Airports and Discreet Music. And Music for Airports didn't really have much of a track listing, just like 1/2 or 1/1, etc. Plateau of Mirror Forever, it's actually shorter than Music for Airports, but it's split into 10 songs. And I really like how it does this because I don't have to, there's now going to be like different melodies and different, different sounds. And that's exactly what I got. The first song, First Light, goes on for about 7 minutes with a repetitive piano uh, piano going through it. And this is one of the more minimal tracks on here. And it's a very beautiful track. Great intro. Then there's Steal Away, which actually had was co-written by Eugene Bowen, or however you pronounce his name. Bowen or Bowen, I don't know. But yeah, it's the only one that has someone else on it besides her old bud and Brian Eno. It sounds a lot like a Dead Mouse piano track. If you've heard his 7 EP or some of his piano tracks from While One Is Less Than Two, you may be able to recognize this, and you might really like this song. If you haven't checked out the Dead Mouse's 7 EP, you should definitely go do that because it's a great short ambient album. I really like it. Anyway, back to this. The title track is is very sounds very sunny. It sounds very happy, kind of an Andres Vollenweider kind of feel going on here. I really like this one. Above Chiang Mai, I don't know. But this is another real sunny sounding track. It kind of keeps the same atmosphere going from the title track. I suppose it's pretty good. An Ark of Doves is one of the standouts on here, definitely. This is what I thought of whenever I thought of this album at the beginning. It just has a very uh, I don't know how to describe this one. Definitely like how I described the album. A lot of pianos above the synthesizers, and that makes it really satisfying. And I love it pretty much every time I hear it. Then there's Not Yet Remembered. This is this track right here is uh I don't know. This track is awesome. Well, I don't know if I should be awesome isn't really a good word to describe any ambient tracks, but this track mainly concentrates on the piano, but it is the most emotionally strong heavy song on the album. It's just so it's desperately sad and melancholic. And I remember when I was listening to this at school, I was just this track just hit me right across the face, and with like all this emotion, and I just didn't know how to react to it, and I didn't want to embarrass myself in front of my classmates who were around me at the time. There's some music that I have listened to at school, other times that have made me try and I've tried to keep a straight face through it, but it doesn't always work out, but I try not to embarrass myself. The Chill Air kind of keeps the melancholic thing going and not yet remembered. The chill air has like a um yeah, chill air is definitely a fitting title because yeah, it's very chill, kind of almost like I was really hot, but then I just stepped outside of a house of like the building and I'm cooling off, and it just a really nice feeling track. Among Fields of Crystal is keeps the cool uh feeling going on, still kind of melancholic with uh with the pianos and the synthesizers still going. Then there's Wind and Lonely Fences. This is another really good track. It's starts out with these bell sounds, then the low piano chords come in, with the synthesizers kind of rising to become louder and louder as it progresses, and the track gets louder. And I just love the build up on here. It yeah, it really creates a lot of imagery, and I think it definitely has influenced a lot of musicians today. Then Failing Light is kind of a rehash of First Light, but with Brian Eno's fluttery effect tape effects going on it. It's not as long, but I can't say that it's not as good. I can't say that it's uh, inferior to First Light. I really like this one. So overall, this is not like music for airports at all. I think it's almost completely different. You can still hear a lot of Brian Eno's stuff going on here that you know he would have done if you've heard his past albums. The only song on here that sounds like it could have been on Music for Airports is Not Yet Remembered, because it's got these the mellotrons imitating voices uh, that and yeah, that was used a lot in Music for Airports, but it's just a lot more, like I said, it's a lot more sadder than anything on Music for Airports. So yeah, this album is definitely one of the greatest ambient albums ever. The reason why I wanted to review this instead of Music for Airports is because this is an album that I believe is constantly forgotten about. It's usually uh, has a shadow cast upon it by Music for Airports and On Land, which are both very good albums, but I think this is much better than either of those two. So if you're looking for something a lot more piano based than Cluster and Eno or Music for Airports, this is what you want. It's also I feel a lot more emotional than Music for Airports. The atmosphere it creates is also uh really nice. I don't think it's as strong as Music for Airports atmosphere, but the, but it does have but it does have one, and I still think that it's really nice. So overall, I'm going to give this album a 93 out of 100. It's just I don't keep in mind that a lot of ambient albums I may not rank as high since they're not only enjoyable, usually in the background. This album is has a lot of tracks I do enjoy pretty much every time I hear them. But yeah, my and I noticed that I've been giving ratings way too high to albums that don't really deserve that high of a rating. So I'm going to make the ratings lower and hard to get near 100, just to make things more interesting. So the top, also I noticed that I kept choosing tracks that, too many tracks as my favorite tracks. So I'm going to choose less tracks this time. So I think the best tracks on here are Um, um, the title track, An Arc of Dubs, Not Yet Remembered, and When in Lonely Fences. My least favorite track, forget it. I'm not doing this with ambient albums anymore. I just feel it's really unfair to give any track on an ambient album least favorite. So anyway, that's my opinions on Plateau of Mirror. Definitely go check this out. I do think it's probably, it might be even my favorite Brian Eno album right now. So see you in the next one. Bye.